Okay. We should be good. Look, it's my face. Alright. Aetherdrift. Pack opening time. We have the collector box. And we have a play box. Okay. There we go. Alright. Box topper. And our packs. I will move the packs to the side. Your eyes are on the prize. The box topper contains 2 gleaming first place foils, a tantalizing prize for a high stakes or friendly match against rival racers. So that is a side for would-be racers, or claim the cards for your own collection. Then on the back, if you're going to draft, those are the sort of mechanics that are going on. So Azorius is artifacts. Demur is artifact with like life pinging. Red black, you want to hit max speed. Red green, you want to do some exhausting. Green white is vehicles. White black is max speed. Blue red is discard. Green black is graveyard. Red white is vehicles and mounts. And green blue is exhaustion with ramp. Let's see what we get out of this. There's only 2 cards in this. One being a basic land, one being an actual card. Alright, there we go. Okay. I believe the back is the basic land. Nope, it is not. I was wrong. It is a district mascot. So 1 mana 0/0, but it enters with a counter. Remove 2 counters from it. Destroy a artifact. And whenever this attacks while saddled, put a counter on it. And a first place mountain. Okay. I will, just because they are different from the others. Put them in sleeves for now. How does this one open? Okay. Actual pack opening time. How are these correlated? Art card, land, and then probably the rare. So we'll keep it in that order, I think. All right, so planes. Foil Burner Rocket. 2 mana for a 3/1 vehicle. It has flash, but when it enters, a creature you control gets +2/+0 and trample, and only accrue for 1. Demonic Junker. 7 mana for 4/3, but affinity for artifacts makes it cheaper. When it enters, for each player, destroy up to 1 target creature. If the creature you controlled this way was destroyed this way, put 2 counters on it. So really it's a 7 mana, like 6/5 that destroys something on each side. I don't know if this is going to be that good. I am going to lower that a little bit more. 2 mana 0/8 Octopus. Let's go. Country roads, take me home. Enters tapped unless you control a mount or vehicle. And then for 2 mana, make a pilot. 2 damage to each creature or cycle it. Ooh, Momentum Breaker actually isn't bad. Start your engines. Make your opponent sacrifice something. And then you gain life equal to your speed. Avishkar Raceway. Start your engines, add a colorless, but at max speed, you can discard to draw. Mutant Surveyor. 3 mana, 2/3, but it has the Shade ability, and at max speed, exile from your graveyard to draw a card. Bestow Greatness, 3 mana to give +4/+4 and trample. Chitin Gravestalker, 6 mana, 5/4 that you can cycle, or it will just cost less if your graveyard is filled. 5 mana, 5/4 vehicle, but you got a Thopter with it, and the Thopter can immediately crew the vehicle. It's not bad for a common. Thunderhead Gunner. You can discard a card to draw a card once a turn at sorcery speed. And it's a 5 mana, 4/5 reach. I like that. Howler's Heavy. You can cycle it, and when you cycle it, a creature or vehicle an opponent controls gets -3/-0. Other than that, it's a 4 mana, 3/4. Alright, Demonic Junker is the rare. I could probably back up the mic a bit. Zombie token with a elephant token on the back. Foil Rugged Highlands. And a foil Scrounging Skyray. When you discard one or more cards, put that many on this creature. Ooh, nice. Spectacular Pileup. 5 mana. Destroy all creatures and vehicles. They even lose indestructible. That's not bad. Spell Pierce is back in standard. Pride of the Road. Zombie Cat Warrior. Ooh. 4 mana, 2/5. Vigilance. Start your engines. Creature or vehicle gets double strike at max speed. Okay. I mean, it's a 2/5. It'll block for a while. Return a creature card, a mount card, a vehicle card, and a no ability creature card from graveyard to hand. The Grease Goblin, 1 mana, 2/1, but then you can exhaust it to discard cards and make it a 3/2. Walking Sarcophagus, 2 mana, 2/1. Start your engines, but at max speed it's a 3/3. This target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. It's a 1 mana fight, essentially. Oh, but if it targets a mount or a vehicle. Okay. 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever you attack, the attacking creature gets +1/+0, but when it dies, surveil 1. 4 mana, 5/4. When it attacks while saddled, it's a... Or 6 mana, 4/4. When it attacks while saddled, it's a 6/6. And it's got Vigilance. So that's not bad. 2 mana, 3/2. When it enters, scry 2. And crew for only 1. It's pretty nice. We saw Burner Rocket. Trip Up. 4 mana. Put something on the top or bottom of the library, depending on what the opponent chooses. I'm just looking at frames. All right. Another art card. Ooh, and it's a gold stamp. This is what? What is this called? Guidelight Pathmaker. Tranquil Quove, so the white-blue life gain. Gilded Goda. When it attacks while saddled, make a treasure token. Saddle is only 1. It's pretty good. Voyage Glide Car. 1 mana, 2/3. When it enters Scry 1, you can crew for 1 or tap 3 other untapped creatures you control. It becomes a artifact creature and flying and gets stronger for the turn. But the counter is permanent. Interesting. Slick Intimidator. 2 mana, 1/3. Start your engines, but at max speed, you can sack it to copy a spell. Is that the art card I just got? Oh, this must be the... Yeah, so this is the same card, but just different art. Also, I just realized my face is really dark, so after this, I'm going to open a blind. 6 mana, 6/5 vehicle. When it enters, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it on the battlefield if it's a mana value 2 or less. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Crew for 2, vigilance. Thins the deck. That could be interesting. Molt Tender, 1 mana for 1/1. You can mill a card, and then you can exile a card from your graveyard to add a mana. Ranger's Aetherhide, 3 mana for a 3/5 vehicle. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, create a 1/1 Thopter, and the crew is only 1. So, I mean, 3 mana, 3/5, and you should have another creature on the field regardless, and you can crew it up, and you get a 3/5 swinging. Like, that's pretty nice. Guidelight Matrix, 2 mana for an artifact, draw a card, and then you can pay 2 mana to make a mount saddled or a vehicle become a creature. Night Market enters tapped, you choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color, cycle for 3. Streaking Oil Gorger, 5 mana, 3/3 flying haste, start your engines, max speed, it also has lifelink. Beast Rider Vanguard, 2 mana for a 2/2, 5 mana, look at the top 3 cards of your library, reveal a permanent card from among them, put it into your hand. 2 mana, 3/1, start your engines, max speed, tap for double red for End Rider Catalyst. Flood the engine, 3 mana for an enchantment. You tap the creature or vehicle, and it loses all abilities. And we saw the scooter. Alright, I'm going to open up a blind real quick. That's better. Another art card. Rocketeer Boots Buggy? I don't know that one. I'm also gonna just... I think this will work better if I do this. Boop. Yeah, because then I might not accidentally cut off the card if I, like, end up moving it there. Because I'm not going to move it all the way over here. So, alright, Scoured Barrens, white-black, life gain land. Foiled Midnight Mangler, 2 mana for a 3/3 vehicle. During turns that aren't yours, it is a creature. So it makes it a little easier for your opponent to kill. Because it is a creature on their turns. I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, very nice. Oil Deep Gearhulk. Blue, black for 4/4. It's got lifelink and ward 1. When it enters, you can look at target player's hand. You can choose a card from it. If you do, that player discards a card and then draws a card. So you can look at your opponent and perhaps get rid of a really good card so that they draw into something less good. Or if you are like flooding out, you can look at your own hand, discard a land, and get something back. Or draw something new. So I like the versatility of the Gear Hulk. Hi, Telly. How you doing? Diversion unit. 2 mana for 2/1. Flying. Blue, sack this creature. Counter an instant or sorcery spell unless the opponent pays 3. Declarative. Goodbye. Detention Chariot. 6 mana, 6/6. When it enters, exile an artifact or creature an opponent controls until the vehicle leaves. Crew for 3 or cycle for a white. Sky Crash. 2 mana, instant, destroy an artifact, which is very good because this is very heavy artifact. Or you just cycle it for red. Yeah, I've been doing some live streams lately where I'm able to get onto YouTube. If I go... Like, it hasn't been much. Like, maybe 10 streams total. 10 to 15 streams. It's been slow going, but, like, I've streamed twice in November, 3 times in December. Quite a few times, actually, in January. So, like, I've been doing it for, you know, a couple of months. Intimidation Tactics. 1 mana. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature, and you exile that card. That's pretty good. 4 mana for a 3/4. When this creature enters or attacks, exile a 1 target card from a graveyard to gain a life. Or you can cycle it for 2 mana. Gibberick Omnivore. It's a 2 mana 3/2. That's it. Deathless Pilot. 2 mana 2/2. It saddles mounts and vehicles as though its power were 2 more. And for 4 mana, you can turn it from a graveyard to your hand. Stampeding Scurryfoot. 1 mana for a 1/1. But for 4 mana, you can put a counter on it and make a 3/3 elephant. Light Shield Parry. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Cycling for 2 mana. It's interesting, because I think from Duskmourn, there was a 1 mana combat trick called Jump Scare, which was creature gets +2/+2, gets flying, and is a horror. And so just to see +2/+2 is a little weird. Burner Rocket, we've seen. Gear Seeker Serpent. 7 mana for a 5/6, affinity for artifacts, so it could be a 2 mana 5/6. And then for 6 mana, it can't be blocked. I forgot about pulling up some sleeves. We're going to put the Gear Hulk into a nice sleeve. Our first mythic of the box. Very nice. Another art card. Caradora, Heart of Alacria. I don't think I've even seen this card in the pre-releases. So, we'll see what comes of it. Swamp. Voyage Quick Welder. 3 mana for a 2/4, but your artifact spells cost 1 less. Redshift Rocketeer Chief. Red and green for a 2/3. It's got Vigilance. Add X mana of any one color, where X is Redshift's power. Spend this to only activate abilities. And then exhaust for 12, 10, and red-green. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So, I don't know if this guy will ever get his exhaust ability off, but he's a mana dork, which is cool. Stock up. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put 2 of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Sundial, the Dawn Tyrant. 2 mana for a 3/3. We follow as it walks at the head of the ever-breaking day. Is it leading the dawn, or does it march to some forgotten celestial order? It does not answer our questions, so faith must sustain us. Lagorin, Soul of Alacaria. That was not the same. Yeah, that's not the same one. Okay. Lagorin must be the bat, and then Caradora must be the person right there. When it attacks while saddled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts or vehicles. It's a 2 mana 1/1 flying with saddle 1. The Apocalypse Rudder. 4 mana for a 6/5 vehicle, crew of 3, but target creature you control with power 2 or less gains lifelink and can't be blocked. Lotus Guard Disciple. 3 mana for a 2/2. When it enters, target creature or vehicle gains lifelink and indestructible. Interface Ace. 2 mana for a 0/4. It crews as with its toughness rather than its power. And when this creature becomes tapped during your turn, you can untap it, but only once. Risky Shortcut. 3 mana, draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. The Veloheart Bike. 3 mana for 4/2, but when it enters, you gain 2 life. It's a mana dork car, and you can crew for 2. Leonin Survivor. 2 mana, 2/2. Start your engines. During your turn, it has first strike. And then max speed. Exile the card from your graveyard to draw a card. We saw the Catalyzer. And bounce off 1 mana. Return a creature or vehicle to its owner's hand. It's a better unsummon. Start your engines! Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, if your speed is 1 or greater, increase your speed by 1. Max speed is 4, but it only triggers once per turn. So you have to play a Start Your Engines in order to get Start Your Engines. But then whenever your opponent loses life on your turn, you go up by 1, only once a turn, until you get to max speed. Alright, Windscarred Crag is red-white gain life. We saw Trip Up. Ooh! Nice! The Speed Demon. 5 mana, 5/5. This is a mythic, too. Flying Trample, start your engines. Beginning of your end step, draw X cards, lose X life, where X is your speed. Alright, so you play this, and assuming it's your first Start Your Engines card, you have a 5/5 Flying Trample that at the end of the turn will draw you a card and lose you a life. If you're already at max speed, you'll draw 4, lose 4, but that does put you in a bit of a risky situation. I don't know. It's hard to evaluate this one. But it's the special art, which is really cool. Roadside Blowout. 3 mana, but it costs 2 less if it targets something with mana value 1. Return a creature or vehicle that an opponent controls to its owner's hand, but then you draw a card. Cloudspire Captain. 3 mana, 2/3. Mounts and vehicles get +1/+1. and this saddles mounts as though its power were 2 or greater. 2 greater. Ooh. This guy I saw, like, win some people some games. Dracosaur Auxiliary. 6 mana for a 4/4. It has flying and haste, like most dragons do. Saddle for 3, and if it attacks while saddled, it just bolts something for 2. You can get rid of a pesky flyer that might block it. You can just bolt your opponent in the face if they have no flyers. Like I saw a couple of games close out because of this card here. Riggerfolk Indomitable. You can cast this card by from your graveyard by paying 2 life and sacking an artifact or creature and paying the 4 mana. So it can recur itself, which is nice. The 2 life and the creature, you know, you might need to find a way to stop from dying if you keep casting this guy. We saw the Walking Sarcophagus, we saw the Pilot, we saw the Greatness. Magmakin Aerialist. 3 mana for a 1/4. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. Or you can cycle this, where if you cycle it, you will deal 1 damage to each opponent. Spectral Interference, 2 mana. Counter an artifact or creature unless its controller pays 4. Like, very nice early game. Get rid of a potential, like, 2 mana or 3 mana threat. Still really good late game if they're paying 6 mana for a creature. So, Swift Swing Assailant. 4 mana, 3/3, flying, start your engines. But if you have max speed, it is a 3/4 with Vigilance. And we saw the Gunner. I know that we have, like, I think in Standard there's, like, a Demon deck or something. So, like, Speed Demon could be cool. And so this would be Borderless. Yeah, it doesn't look like a lot of people are hyped on this card. Pre-sale price was like 16 and it's already dropped to like 4. But it's still like a really cool looking mythic. Alright, another Start Your Engines. Thornwood Falls, so the green-blue life gain. Haunted Hellride. 3 mana, 3/3 vehicle. When you attack, the creature gets +1/+0 Death Touch and essentially pseudo Vigilance because you untap it. It's only got a crew for 1. Ooh. Perilous Snare. 3 mana, start your engines. When it enters, exile a non-land permanent opponent controls until the artifact leaves the battlefield. Max speed. Put a counter on a creature or vehicle you control, but only at sorcery speed. That's not bad. It's the blue shell from Mario. 5 mana, 4/4, Robot Turtle. When it enters, return a creature or vehicle an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If that opponent's speed is greater than each other player's speed, reduce that opponent's speed by 1. However, you cannot reduce their speed below 1. So yeah, it's a Mario Blue Shell reference. Oh, hey, you're in first place for your speed. We hit you, and you go down. Gallant Strike. Destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater. Greenbelt Guardian I've seen people use quite a bit. 2 mana for a 2/2. Green, give something trample. Or for 4 mana, put 3 counters on it and make it a 5/5. And then you can start giving it trample, and it's even bigger for a threat. Road Rage. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is 2 plus the number of mounts and vehicles you control. So nice, just little shock, lightning bolt type thing. Camera Launcher. 3 mana for a 2/2. You can exhaust it for 3 to put a counter on it and make a Thopter. I mean, getting that Thopter is always nice. The Ticket Tortoise, Defender. When this creature enters, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you create a treasure token. Admit 1, enjoy the race. So yeah, this is like, if you're on the play and this is in your hand, or if you're on the draw and this is in your hand, your opponent plays a land, you play a land. Your opponent plays a land, you play a land. Your opponent plays a land, and then on turn 3, before your land drop, you can play this, get a treasure, and then still get your land drop. So it's a little finicky in order to get the treasure, but still nice. Alright, Spin Out. 3 mana, destroy a creature or vehicle. This is just better murder now. Silken Strength, 2 mana, flash, enchant a creature or vehicle, untap that permanent, and it gets +1/+2 in reach. Daring Mechanic, 3 mana for 3/3, but for 4 mana, you can put a counter on a mount or a vehicle. We saw the Aerialist. Keen Buccaneer, 3 mana for 2/3, Vigilance, Exhaust for 2 mana, draw a card, discard a card, and put a counter on it to make it a 3/4. That one, like, that exhaust ability actually isn't that expensive. We've seen a lot of exhausts that are very heavy. Alright, we have a pilot token where it saddles, mounts, and cruises vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. And on the back is a treasure token. We have a swamp. Foil Rocky Roads. It's the red version of the Country Roads, where you can make a pilot later on. Ooh, nice. Lifecraft Engine, 3 mana for 4/4 vehicle. You choose a creature type. Your vehicles, other than this one, are that creature type. Or no, even this one is that creature type. And then each creature you control, other than this vehicle, gets +1/+1. So very good for, you know, a sort of tribal kindred type thing. Ooh, double rare pack. Our first double rare pack. Web Strike Elite. 2 mana for a 3/3. Reach. Cycling for 2 and X. When you cycle, destroy 1 target artifact or enchantment with mana value X. I mean, a 2 mana 3/3 with reach is already pretty good. Racer Scoreboard. 4 mana, start your engines. When it enters, draw 2 and then discard a card. Max speed, your spells cost 1 less. I actually do need that for a deck, so I'm going to set that aside. Point the Way. Green. Enchantment. Start your engines. 4 mana, sack this enchantment. Search your library for X basic lands, where X is your speed, and put them on the battlefield tapped. So, max speed, you get 4. If you did that, if you had no way of increasing your speed, like for some reason you just couldn't get through your opponent, 4 mana, search for a land, like, it's okay. We saw Sky Crash. Skybox Fairy, 5 mana 4/4, flying, crew 2, or cycle for 2. Hazard of the Dunes, 4 mana 4/4, trample reach, exhaust for 7 mana to turn it into a 7/7. I mean, a 7/7 trample reach, hard to deal with. Maximum Overdrive, 2 mana, put a counter on a creature, and it gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn. I lost so many creatures due to Maximum Overdrive during the pre-release. Nimble Thopterus, 4 mana 3/2, but when it enters, you make a Thopter. Always nice. Collision Course, 2 mana. You deal X to target creature or X's number of permanents you control that are creatures or vehicles, or you just destroy an artifact. Okay. Versatile, which is always nice. Gilded Goda. Oh, yeah. That goes there, and that goes there. Alright, start your engines. Bloodfell Caves. Ooh, Dragonaut's Engineer. This one's pretty good. 2 mana for a 2/2. You can pay a red to exhaust to make this a 3/3 and give your board haste. Or exhaust for 4 mana and you get a 4/4 Dino. Very nice. Ooh, and that is a mythic. Valor's Flagship. 7 mana, 7/7, flying first strike lifelink vehicle with crew 3. Or you can cycle it for 3 mana and X. And if you cycle, you create X pilots. So you could cycle for 6 mana, get 3 pilots. You know, you cycle for 4 mana, get a pilot. That feels a little bad. But the Valor's Flagship is pretty cool. Alright. Tune up. Return an artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. But if it's a vehicle, it is now just a creature. You no longer have to crew it. Ooh, that's pretty. Reef Roads. It's the blue of the road cycle. Our Victory. 3 mana, start your engines. When it enters, you make a zombie. And then at max speed, it is a tutor. Hey, Wild Roads. That's the green one. Which, I don't think we've gotten the black one yet. Dynamite Diver. Red for a 1/1. Saddles mounts and crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. But when it dies, ping something. Maximum Overdrive. Broken Wings. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Gasstall Blockbuster. 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters, you may sack a creature or vehicle to destroy an artifact or an opponent controls. Okay. We saw that. And then this guy, 2 mana, 2/1 with haste. You can exhaust it to make it a 4/3. Well, we're definitely putting... I don't think I think the Valor's Flagship is another one of those mythics where it's not that expensive monetarily wise because it's a 7 mana. But so far, three decent, like 3 mythics that I'm not upset about. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah, 3 mythics so far. So, boop. Also, okay, so you're on my phone. Hold on. We're gonna do that, and I can put these at least there for now. Alright, we have a Thopter token with a Cat with Lifelink token. Oh, I know what that's from. Alright. Force. Hey, Foul Roads. The black of the roads. We've seen all of the roads. Oh, yes. March of the World Ooze. 6 mana for an enchantment. Creatures you control are oozes and have base power 6/6. However, if an opponent casts a spell and it's not their turn, you get a 3/3 elephant, which is actually a 6/6. This is going into a deck. Ooh, that's nice. We got a little full art card. The Ripclaw Wrangler. 4 mana for a 4/3. When the vehicle enters, each opponent discards a card. And then crew for 2. Rover Blades, 3 mana for a 2/2 with double strike. Equipped creature has double strike. The crew is 2. And you can equip it for 4. Adrenaline Jockey. 3 mana for 3/3. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, it deals 4 damage to them. Wow. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, put a counter on this creature. Yeah, I like that as an uncommon. Like, all right, you know, you can't get counterspelled now. Like, your opponent risks just getting bolted in the face with counterspells. They then have to turn their instant removals into sorcery speed removals. Like, that isn't bad. I like that. Rise in Necro Regent. 5 mana, 5/4. Start your engines. Max speed. You create a 2/2 zombie at the end of your turn. It's a zombie cat knight too. That's really cool. Night Market we've seen. The Matrix we've seen. Engine Rat. 1 mana for a 1/1 with Death Touch. 6 mana. Each opponent loses 2 life. So a little, you know, if you draw it late game, you can drain your opponent for 2, and you get a 1/1 Death Toucher, which is always annoying. Early game, you know, you combine this with some max speed cards, you can start increasing your speed. So, we saw. March of the World Ooze, though, that is a card that is going into a deck. And now the light is out. Or the sun is out, and it's blinding my face. So we lower that to, like, there, I think. Yeah. Ooh, Insect Token. And Elephant Token. So there's the Elephant Token from the World Ooze, essentially. Scoured Barrens. Stall out. Put tap a creature or vehicle and put 3 stun counters on it, or you can cycle it for 2. I don't think you're ever going to cycle this card. I literally think this is a stun. Ooh, Culloden, Triumph Caster. 2 mana for a 2/3. Mounts and vehicles have haste. Whenever a mount enters, it becomes saddled. And whenever a vehicle enters, it becomes a creature. So, this is really good for a mount vehicle just aggro smack you in the face deck. Ooh, nice art here. Skybox Fury. We have seen this one, but that's new art. The Pit Automaton. 2 mana for 0/4 Defender. Tap to add 2 colorless, but only for activating abilities. 2 mana, when you next activate an exhaust ability, you can copy it. Fang Guardian, 4 mana, 4/2 Flash. When it enters, another creature or vehicle you control gets +2/+2. So a little bit of a way to save your creature. Spire Mech Cycle, 5 mana, 5/4 haste. You can exhaust it by tapping an untapped mount or vehicle, and this vehicle becomes a creature permanently. Put a +1/+1 counter for each mount or vehicle you control other than this vehicle. And then crew for 2. So you exhaust it, you immediately just have a 5/4 creature. And you also buff your other creatures and vehicles. Wreck Remover. Siphon Fuel, 5 mana. A creature gets -6/-6. You gain 2 life. Migrating Catcherdon, 6 mana for 6/6. Reach, when it enters, you gain 4 life, or you can cycle for 2. Packdoll Terror. 4 mana for 3/4. When this creature or another artifact you control enters, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So a bit of a way to, like, slow the damage your opponent is doing by gaining some life. We saw the Serpent. We saw the Quick Welder. Kickoff Celebrations. 2 mana. Start your engines. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2. Max speed. Sack this equipment. Creatures and vehicles you control gain haste. Oh, hey, we got Red Shift earlier, but this is going to be different art. Or no, it's the same art. There he is. Mountain. Bestow Greatness. Ooh, Unstoppable Plan. Beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents you control. So great way to have your mana rocks back up for some more mana during your opponent's control. Canyon Vaulter. When this saddles a mount or crews a vehicle during your main phase, that mount or vehicle gains flying until end of turn. That's not bad. Ooh, I don't think I've seen this one. Trade the Helm. 5 mana. Exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Huh. Back on track. 5 mana. Return a creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Create a pilot. So you get a big creature. You get a little creature as well. Okay. Artarch, how the hell do you pronounce that? Arch Mammoth? 6 mana, 5/5. When it enters and whenever it attacks while saddled, make a 3/3 elephant. Saddle is 5, though. So, we saw Stall Out, we saw the Strength, we saw Spin Out, Midnight Mangler we've seen, Mechanic we've seen. Alright, I think we're getting to the point where we have seen a good amount of the commons, so we'll be able to like start flying through them. Cloudspire Sky Cycle? Yeah, I don't know if we've seen that. I know we haven't seen that art, but I just don't even know if we've seen that card. The Venom Sack-Lagak. 2 mana for 2/1 Death Touch. If it attacks while saddled, it's a 2/4, and the saddle is 2. Full Throttle! 6 mana. After this main phase, there are 2 additional combat phases. At the beginning of each combat, untap all creatures that attacked this turn. So, a great way to just, like, end the game. I actually did win a game during the pre-release by using Full Throttle. Glory Heath Links. 2 mana for a 2/3 lifelink. When it attacks while saddled, search your library for planes and put it in your hand. And saddle is only 2. So great way to thin the deck. Make sure you're hitting land drops. I like it. You saw a stock up. Paysetter Paragon. 3 mana for a 2/3. Exhaust. Put a counter on it, so it's a 3/4, and it has double strike for that turn. Ooh. Hellish Sideswipe. 1 mana. Sack an artifact or creature to destroy an artifact or creature. If you sacrificed a vehicle, you draw a card. Aether Jacket. 3 mana for a 2/1. Flying Vigilance. 2 mana. Sack this creature. Destroy another artifact. Activate only at sorcery speed, though. Mutant Surveyor, we've done. We have not done this guy. Guidelight Optimizer, 2 mana for 2/1. Add blue, only to cast artifacts or activate an ability. And Brightfield Mustang, 4 mana for 3/3. When this creature attacks while saddled, untap it and put a counter on it. Oh, and the saddle is only 1. I just realized we have not gotten a Verge land. Thopter and a Goblin token. That actually looks really cool. 4 island. Foil Broadside Barrage. 3 mana, deal 5 damage to a creature or planeswalker. Draw a card, discard a card. Winter, the Cursed Rider. 2 mana, 3/2. Ward of pay 2 life. Artifacts you control have ward pay 2 life. And then Exhaust, 4 mana. Exile X artifacts from your graveyard. Each other non-artifact creature gets -X/-X. Him himself not being an artifact actually might make it better. But, you know, even in just, like, standard, he dies to cut down. He dies to go for the throat. He dies to know where to run. Like, a lot of great removal just to destroy this guy. So, I don't know if Winter's worth it. Alacrian Armory. 4 mana. Creatures you control have +0/+1 in Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a mount or vehicle. It becomes saddled or crewed. Okay. Ranger's Refueler. 2 mana, 3/3. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, draw a card. 4 mana. It becomes a creature permanently and gets a counter. And you draw a card off of it. That's not bad. Earth Rumbler. 5 mana, 7/6. Vigilance Trample. Exile a artifact or creature from your graveyard. It becomes an artifact or creature, or you can crew for 3. Tyrox, the Saurid Tyrant. 2 mana, 4/4/1. That's it. It's a dinosaur warrior. Grim Bauble. Black mana. When it enters, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. For 3 mana, you can sack it to Surveil. Luxodon Surveyor. 3 mana, 3/3. Start your engines, and then exile from your graveyard to draw a card at max speed. Oh, now we're getting more commons we haven't seen. Clamorous Ironclad. 4 mana for 6/3. It's got Menace. Crew 3, or you can just cycle it for red. We saw you. Ride's End. 5 mana. Exile a creature or vehicle. But if the vehicle or creature is tapped, it's only 2 mana. Oh, what are you doing, cards? Outpace Oblivion? Alright. Swamp. Spectral Interference Foil. Debreedle. 4 mana for a 6/6 vehicle. It's got Trample. Crew 2. When it enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. It's very nice. Alright, we saw you. Roadside Assistance we haven't seen. 3 mana. When this aura enters, make a pilot. And then Enchanted Permanent gets +1/+1 and lifelink. It's a very good one. Push the limit. 7 mana. Return all mountain vehicle cards from graveyard to the battlefield. You sack them at the beginning of the next end step. Vehicles become creatures, and creatures gain haste. Broodheart Engine. 2 mana. Beginning of upkeep, Surveil 1. 4 mana. Return a creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield by sacking this artifact. This could be pretty good. You surveil away something incredibly huge, and then literally 2 turns after that, you can end up getting a big boy. Alright, just getting rid of the ones that we've seen. And very nice. We can just, that pack is done. Start your engines. Forest. Gastal Thrillseeker. Red, black for 2/3. Start your engines. When it enters, it deals damage to an opponent and you gain a life, so that is already putting you to speed 2. Max speed as Death Touch and Haste. Ooh. And the last ride. Black for a 13/13. It gets -X, -X, where X is your life total. But for 3 mana, pay 2 life, draw a card. So this is Death Shadow as a vehicle. Ooh. And Sky Shear's Chariot. Flying, when it enters, choose a non-land card. Activate abilities of sources with the chosen name. Costs 2 more to activate. It's a 2 mana, 3/3 vehicle with crew 2. Wow, we're actually seeing more cards that we haven't seen yet. 4 mana for a 2/2 for Sabotage Strategist. Flying Vigilance, whenever one or more creatures attack you, they get -1/-0. And then for 7 mana, it becomes a 5/5. A lot of mana to dump in to get a 5/5. But lowering the amount of damage your opponent can do is pretty nice. So, Dredger's Insight. 2 mana. Whenever one or more artifacts or creatures you control leave the battlefield, you gain 1 life. When this enters, mill 4 cards. Put an artifact, creature, or land from among them into your hand. Oh. Wreckage Wickerfolk. 2 mana for a 1/3 flyer. When it enters, surveil 2. Like, this is solid. This is pretty good. Trip Up. Broadcast Rambler, Burner Rocket. Oh, that last ride's gonna go into a sleeve. That's pretty nice. All right. We have about a third of this box left. Treasure Token and Thopter Token. Thornwood Falls. Siphon Fuel. Debreedle! Look at that. That's nice. I like that. Ooh. Afterburner Expert. 3 mana for 4/2. You can exhaust for 4 mana to make it a 6/4. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, you return this from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it self-recurs by just activating a exhaust. And it could be a 2 mana exhaust, could be a 7 mana exhaust. Cloudspire Coordinator. 2 mana for a 3/1. When it enters, scry 2. And then you can create a pilot. Or create X pilots where X is the number of mounts and vehicles that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So very good for a vehicle deck. Or a mount deck. Boom Scholar. 3 mana for 3/3. Exhaust abilities of other permanents cost 2 less. And then for 6 mana, your creatures and vehicles gain trample. This gets 2 counters. So, yeah, you use the exhaust ability on a turn you think you can win to swing out, and hopefully you get there. What the hell is this? Chef Net Archfiend. 7 mana, 5/5 flying. When it enters, all other creatures get -2/-2, or you can cycle it for 2. Ah, yeah, so you could go, alright, there was that artifact that lets you surveil and then recur something. So you go, turn 2, that artifact. Turn 3, surveil. Maybe you keep it because it's a land you need. You cycle this into the grave, and then turn 4, you recur this, and you possibly board wipe somebody, and then you have a 5/5 flyer. Scrap Compactor. 1 mana to play it, and then 3 mana, sack it to deal 3 damage to something, or 6 mana to destroy a creature or a vehicle. Tortoise. Siphon Fuel, Broken Wings, Hole Drifter. 5 mana for a 3/2. When this vehicle enters, draw 2 cards. It has flying and crew of 3. Oh, Crash and Burn. 4 mana, destroy a vehicle, or 6 damage to a creature or planeswalker. Little expensive for that one, but at least in, like, drafts, I could see it being used, because you get rid of a big creature or a big vehicle that's been causing you problems. I could see it being run. Alright, start your engines, Jungle Hollow, Adrenaline Jockey, Bloodghast. 2 mana for a 2-1. It can't block, but it can crew. This creature has haste as long as an opponent has 10 or less life. And whenever you play a land, you can return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh, what's this? Dune Drifter. White-black X for a 3-3 with crew 2. When it enters, return an artifact or creature with mana value X or less from graveyard to the battlefield. Transit Mage. 3 mana for a 2-2. When it enters, search your library for an artifact with mana value 4 or 5. Reveal it, put it in your hand. He's got a guitar. Terry and the World Tyrant. It's a 5 mana 9/7. Marauding Mako. 1 mana 1/1. Whenever you discard one or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on the creature. Or you could cycle it for 2. Alright, we are... I think we're down to the last third of our box. Achik Emerald Radiant? Oh, she's the insect queen. Ooh. That's actually nice. I like that art. The point of view full arts. You're on a boat. Or what looks like a boat. Silken Strength. Thopter Fabricator. 3 mana for a 4/4. Flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, make a Thopter. Okay. How have we not seen this yet? Nesting Bot. 1 mana 1/1. Start your engines. When it dies, make a servo. And at max speed, it's a 2/1. Thundering Broodwagon. 6 mana, 6/5, Menace Reach. When this vehicle enters, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. Crew for 3, cycling for 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see. Rocketeer Boost Buggy. 2 mana for 3/2. When this vehicle attacks, make a treasure. Crew is only 1, but you can exhaust it for 3 mana to make it a creature permanently, and it's a 4/3. Calaxion, the Hunger Tyrant. 3 mana for a 7/2. I think we've now seen all of the legendary no ability creatures. Starting column. 3 mana, start your engines. It's a mana rock, and then at max speed you can sack it to draw 2 and then discard a card. Brightfield Glider. 1 mana for a 1/1 Vigilance, saddle of 3. When this creature attacks while saddled, it's a 2/3 with flying and vigilance. Goblin Surveyor, 3 mana for a 3/2. Trample, start your engines, and then the exile from graveyard, draw a card. Wow, and even more commons we haven't seen much of. 2 mana for a 1/3 flyer. Exhaust a 5 to make it a 3/5 Sky Streak Engineer. I like that Thopter Fabricator. Like, that could be an interesting card. Alright, Pilot and Vehicle. Planes. Ooh, there we go. Foil, Bleachbone Verge. It taps for black, but it can also tap for white if you have a plains or a swamp. Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't gotten a Verge yet. Mimeoplasm, Revered One. Sultai and X for 0/0. When it enters, exile X creature cards from your graveyard, and it will enter with 3 counters on it for each creature card. So for 4 mana, it's a 3/3. 5 mana, it's a 6/6. 6 mana, it's a 9/9, etc. And then for 2 mana, you're going to have it become a copy of target creature card, except for it's a 0/0 with the ability. Oh, and that's not until end of turn. Oh. Okay, that makes it a little more interesting. So you make it into something. Like, let's say you want to fly over. So you make it into, you know, the 1/3 flyer. It's got, we'll just say 3 counters on it. So you swing in for 3 in the air. Your opponent tries to then, like, kill it. And you can turn it into something that has, like, hexproof or ward. So, okay. That's interesting. Oh, and Curse Cloth Wrappings. That's a triple rare pack. 3 mana, or 4 mana, for a artifact that gives all your zombies +1/+1. And then target creature you control in your grave, or target creature in your graveyard gains Embalm equal to its mana cost. So Embalm is you exile it from your graveyard and you create a token of it. Same colors, same everything, but it has no mana cost. And it becomes a zombie. That's still pretty fun. Wretched Doll. Ooh, we have not seen this one yet. It is a 2 mana 3/1 where for black and tap you surveil. Sky Serpent Seeker is also 1. 2 mana for a 1/1 flying Death Touch. Exhaust for 4. Reveal cards off the top of your library until you reveal 2 lands. Put the lands on the battlefield tapped, and then the rest on the bottom in any order. Put a +1/+1 counter on the creature. So a nice way to, like, ramp, in which, you know, maybe you get lucky. The top 2 cards of your library are lands, and so, you know, you don't draw those. This I could see being pretty fun. Light Wheel Enhancements. White to enchant a creature or vehicle. Start your engines. Enchanted permanent gets +1/+1 in Vigilance, but at max speed you can cast this from your graveyard. Scrap Compactor we've seen. Omnivore we've seen. Gravestalker we've seen. Buccaneer, Mechanic, Gunner. Okay. The Verge and the Mimeoplasm I will put into sleeves. I can't believe that's our first Verge from the box. And it's a full art one, too. We might be out of Mythics, although we have, like, 9 packs left, so maybe not. Ooh, Dinosaur Dragon, 4/4. What's the other side? Just treasure. Dismal Backwater, Walking Sarcophagus. Ooh, Samut. 6 mana, 4/4/5. First Strike, Vigilance, Haste. Start your engines. Other creatures you control get +X/+O, where X is your speed. Non-creature spells you control cost X less to cast, where X is your speed. So if you have max speed, your other creatures get +4/+O, and your non-creature spells cost 4 less. That's pretty nice. Divergent unit. Oh, Air Response unit. 3 mana for 3/3 with Flying and Vigilance, and it's got Crew 1. You've seen Thrill Seeker. Oh. Fang Druid Summoner. 4 mana for 2/4 with Reach. When it enters, you can search your library or graveyard for a creature with no abilities, reveal it, and put it in your hand. I think this is our first Pothole Mole. 3 mana for 2/3. When it enters, mill 3 cards, and then return a land from your graveyard to your hand. So if you had a fetch land from earlier, you get the fetch land back, which is nice. Oops, sorry for punching the mic. Alright, we have a pilot token. And it flips to a zombie token. Blossoming Sands, Broken Wings. Ooh. Full art, Crypt Colored Chariot. 4 mana for a 5/5 menace. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create that many tapped 2/2 zombies, and then crew for 2. That's nice. And a Boom Mobile. 4 mana for 5/5. When it enters, add 4 mana of any one color, but you can only use it to activate abilities. Exhaust for X and 3. This vehicle deals X damage to any target, and you put a +1/+1 counter on the vehicle. This is not one that becomes a creature, so you still can only crew it to become a creature. Ooh, we have not seen this. Voyage Home. 7 mana, but affinity for artifacts. You draw 3 cards and gain 3 life. Boosted Sloop. 3 mana for a 3/3. Menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Crew 1. We've seen Hour of Victory. We've seen Avishkar Raceway. Okay. Alright. Thopter Token. Another Blossoming Sands. Ticket Tortoise. Ooh, Basri. Tomorrow's Champion. White for 2/1. White, you can exert to make a life-linking cat. Exert means that it will not untap during the untap step. You can cycle for 3, but if you cycle the card, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So he's now a cat commander, essentially. We saw Blue Shell, Locust Spray. A creature gets -1/-1, or you can cycle it for black. We saw Lagorian. We've seen the art for this. Outpace Oblivion. 3 mana, start your engines. When it enters, deal 5 damage to a creature or planeswalker. 2 mana, sack this enchantment. 2 damage to each player who doesn't have max speed. I mean, the 3 mana for 5 damage to something, that's at least pretty good. Glitchglow Surveyor. 3 mana, 2/2 flyer. Start your engines. The exile from your graveyard at max speed. Hiya! Vehicle. Oh, and the Chandra emblem on the back as well. Because there's a Chandra Planeswalker. Swamp. Howler Heavy. Sita Varma, Masked Racer. 2 mana for 3/2. Exhaust for X and 3. Put X counters on Sita. Then you can have the base power and toughness of each other creature you can control become Sita Varma's power. So, you know, for 6 mana, you put 3 counters on it, and then you can have your entire board be 5/5s. You swing out, you win the game. That's the idea with Sita. Transit Mage, Foul Road. Ooh, Elvish Refueler. 2 mana for 2/3, or 3 mana for 2/3. During your turn, as long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn, you can activate them as though they haven't been activated. You can exhaust this to put a counter on this creature. So, you use the exhaust ability 1 turn, and then the next turn you're like, well, I don't have any other exhaust abilities. I'll use this one again. Engine Rat. Pedal to the Metal. X and red. Target creature gets +X/+0 in first strike. So it's a 1 mana, give something first strike, or, 3 mana, give something +2/+0 in first strike. Alright, looks like we have 6 packs left of the box. Feelish Swashbuckler. Look at him. He's like driving a seal or something. Crag. Grim Bauble. Hey! Monument to Endurance. It's a 3 mana card. Whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Draw a card. Create a treasure. Each opponent loses 3 life. So if you discard 3 cards in a turn, you get all 3 of these abilities. If you discard 4, you only get the 3 abilities. But if you blink it, it's a new version of Monument, and so you can end up getting more abilities. And that's also going into a deck. Ooh, Guidelight Pathmaker. Oh, we saw this, and we got the art card for it, too. That was cool. Yeah. Embalmed Descendant. 3 mana for a 1/2, start your engines. When this creature enters, make a 2/2 zombie. Okay, so you're already getting... You get 3... Essentially a 3/4 for 3. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life at max speed. Lightning Strike. 2 mana. Deal 3 damage to anything. It is very consistent. People really like Lightning Strike. It'll be legal and standard for another 3 years. Because I think it was going to rotate out in June. So, Thopter and a Servo token. Swamp. Trade the Helm. District Mascot we saw earlier because we got the first place version. Ooze Patrol. 4 mana for a 2/2. When it enters, mill 2 cards. Then put a +1/+1 counter on this creature for each artifact and creature in your graveyard. So I was watching Loading Ready Runs pre-release in which they would play this, and it was a 9/9. Starting Column, Terror we've seen, Crash and Burn we've seen. Okay. Coalstoke Gearhulk. This is the showcase version, and I think it's the red-black one. Foil Lagoria. Guardian Sunmare. 5 mana for a 5/5, Ward 2. When it attacks while saddled, search your library for a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less to put it onto the battlefield, and then you shuffle. Saddle is 4, so it makes it a little difficult, but you can easily get there. Especially when you just get a 3 mana, you know, maybe a 3 mana 3/3, and then like the next turn, you know, you probably have another creature, you can saddle it easily. Skyray we've seen. Guidelight Synergist, 4 mana for 0/4, but it gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So if this is the only thing, it's a 1/4, but this can get really big really quickly. Ancient Vendetta. Choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. Then that player shuffles. Oh, and they don't replace. A lot of these where you would say, I want to find, you know, a Guidelight Synergist. If you search your opponent's hand and you discard anything from that, usually they get to draw a card afterwards to replace it. But this doesn't do that. Ripclaw Wrangler, I think we've read before. Alright. 3 packs left. Alright, Dinosaur Dragon again. It's on the other side, just treasure. Swiftwater Cliffs. Foil Schooner. Gastral Thrill Roller. 3 mana for a 4/2. Trample Haste. When this vehicle enters, it becomes a creature. You will then, on future turns, screw it for 2. 3 mana, discard a card. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter. Okay. Amonkhet Raceway. Start your engines. Add colorless. Max speed. Target creature gets haste. End Rider Spike Spitter. 4 mana for 3/4 with reach. Start your engines. Max speed. Exile the top card of your library, and you can play that card this turn on your upkeep. Carrion Cruiser. 3 mana 3/2. When it enters, mill 2 cards, then return a creature or graveyard from your creature or vehicle from your graveyard to your hand. Crew for 1. We read that, we read that, we read that, we read that, we read that. Alright. Thopter and Goblin. Plains. Mutant. Mindspring Merfolk. 1 mana for a 1/1. Exhaust for X and 2 blue. Draw X cards. Put a +1/+1 counter on each Merfolk you control. I did use this in pre-release, and I drew 7 cards with it. So, ooh, and a Riverturn Monument. 2 mana for an artifact. 1, any number of target players each mills 2 cards. Exhaust for 4, any number of target players each mills cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. So great mill mechanic. Yeah, pack opening Havoc. How are you doing? Pog. Veteran Beast Rider. 3 mana for 3/4. Beginning your end step, untap each creature you control. Alright. And then 4 mana, buff your board. Alright, yeah. Reckless Velocitar. 4 mana, 3/3. When this creature saddles a mount or crews a vehicle, that mount or vehicle gets +2/+0 and trample. Okay. We've seen all of these already, and nothing new. All right. Last pack of this box, and then we'll move on to the collector box. All right, we have something because I can see a little bit of color right there. Pilot token and a zombie token. We have a Plains. Nibblethopterist as a foil. Ooh, Burnout Bastronaut. 1 mana, 1/1 menace. Start your engines. For 2, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Max speed, double strike. Wow. Okay. So 1 Verge in the box and 1 Gearhulk in the box. All right. Haunt the Network. 5 mana, choose an opponent, create 2 Thopters. Then, chosen player loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of artifacts you control. So at base, it's create 2 Thopters, drain your opponent 2. That's not bad. Ooh, Defend the Rider. We haven't seen this. 1 mana, choose 1. A permanent you control gets hexproof and indestructible, or you create a pilot. Thought I saw something weird on that card. All right. So those were from the box topper. We have our... Were there no other mythics that I just missed? So these are all rares. Okay, yeah. So there's our rares. Foil rares. So we got an Oil Deep Gearhulk as a mythic. A Speed Demon as a mythic in special art. Valor's Flagship. The Last Ride. Mimeoplasm. And March of the Whirl Ooze. So a 6 mythic box, 30 packs, so 1 out of 5. That might be on a low end. We only got 1 Verge in the entire box, which I'm actually surprised about. But we did get 2 foil rares, which is nice. Monument to Endurance is going to be very nice because I'm adding that to a deck. So... That is such a weird looking face. Alright. So that is it for the play booster. I'm going to mute for a little bit. I'm going to clean up some packs, like all the wrappings, and then we will get into the collector box. cleaned up a bit. And now we have Collector Box. Which I also need to find a way to open without hitting the cards. Oh, there's a little bit of air right there. Or just right there. All right. All right, we have another box topper, and we have our 12 collector packs. All right, we'll start with the box topper. Yeah, these don't have a slit on them, do they? Oh, no, they do. Haha. Okay. All right, we have a swamp. And we have Voyage Glide Car. Actually, that one's not too bad. Nice. All right, we'll just put those in sleeves. All right, Voyage Glide Car. All right. I always forget. All right. I have no idea how these are going to be correlated, so we'll figure that out on the first one. Probably the same way it looks. All right, so we have a Thopter token. Hey, the Cryptcaller Chariot. We got a non-foil one of that in previous one. Extended Art Mimeoplasm. Bulwark Ox. 2 mana for 2/2. When this attacks while saddled, put a counter on a creature. Sack it. Creatures you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible. Alright, from the Commander set, Stride Hanger Automaton. 3 mana for 1/4. Thopters get +1/+1. When one or more artifact tokens would be created under your control, create an additional Thopter with them. Okay. Foil Bloodghast. Ripclaw Wrangler. Ooh, Clamorous Ironclad. Very cool. I like that. Swamp. Fang Guardian. And I think we have seen now essentially every common. So, like, we can just kind of go through those a little quickly. Boom. Ow. Why don't you want to open? All right, Mimeoplasm is our first mythic out of the box. All right, I'll do that so I can see my mythics from my non-mythics. All right. zombie with Champion of Wits. Champion of Wits being only in the commander set. Explosive Getaway. 5 mana. Exile a artifact or creature. Return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. But you deal 4 damage to each other creature. Yu-Gi-Oh! Got a new community alt. Where's the Black... There is no Black Lotus Havoc. Ain't there a new card that references the Akira slide? I don't know about the slide, but there is a card that references the Mario Kart Blue Shell. Yu-Gi-Oh! Got a new community-made alt format that is essentially Commander format, and you've been playing it. That is going to be an interesting thing to see, but I have a feeling people still, you know, just combo out. Ooh, Morganda Raceway. Start your engines, add a colorless, max speed, add 2 colorless. Fearless Swashbuckler. 1 blue-red for 3/3. Haste. Vehicles have haste. Whenever you attack, if a pirate or vehicle attack this combat, draw 3, discard 2. Etheric Amplifier. 3 mana for Mana Rock. 4 mana. Activate only as a sorcery. Double each kind of counter on a perm... Oh, well, that's going to go into a commander deck I have, actually. Double the number of kind of each counter I have. Huh. And Bulwark Ox we got. Yellow Bike we've seen. Carrying Cruiser we've seen. The Sloop. Trade the Helm. Thundermaw. Pedal the Metal. Okay. So that's 2 Bulwark Oxes in 2 packs. Yeah, this amplifier is actually going to go into a deck that I have. I know that much. It's not a great deck, but it's a fun deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are all printed for 1v1 and not a free-for-all. It creates this interesting dynamic where combo is bad. Oh, because it can't interrupt 3 players. Ooh, okay. That might make me want to actually do some Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. Servo. Burnout, Trash, or Bastronaut in foil. I like how the lightning comes from his wrench. That's pretty nice. Metacant Core Guide Light. 2 mana for a star 3. Powers equal to number of artifacts you control. Start your engines. Max speed. Whenever you cast a artifact spell, you may pay 1. If you do, copy it. Waxen Shape Thief. 4 mana for a shapeshifter with flash. Enters as a copy of an artifact or creature, but it also cycles too. Oh yeah, the little goblin is a little crazy. Like, well, I like that as a clone option. Pima Trailblazer from the commander deck. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, get that many energy, pay 6 energy. 2 counters on this creature. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Alright. Zahor, Glory's Past. 2 mana for 3/2. Start your engines. Sack another creature, surveil 1. Activate once each turn. Max speed. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a tapped 2/2 zombie. Burner Rocket in foil. Spire. Mech Cycle in not foil. Oh yeah, some of the vehicle art is very intriguing. All right, all of those we've seen before, so I can move them here. God, the Shape Thief looks so weird. All right, pack number 4. All right, pilot token with a lumbering world wagon under it and a treasure. 3 mana for star 4. Power is equal to the number of lands you control. And when this vehicle enters or attacks, you search your library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped. So, turn 3, you play this, you get another land to ramp, so it's already a 4/4. And it goes, it gets out of hand very quickly. Like a weird, like, Japanese, like, anime pose that they're doing. Gonti, Night Minister in full art. Ooh. 3/4 for 4. Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type can be spent. So just full thief mode for everyone. Ooh, there we go. Mythic Last Ride. We pulled the regular version earlier. This is now the special art. That looks really cool. Pia Nalar from the Commander set. 3 mana for 2/4. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, gain 2 energy. Beginning your end step, you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, create an XX vehicle named the Nalar Aetherdrift with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of energy spent. And Quag Feast. 2 mana. Choose a creature, planeswalker, or vehicle. Mill 2 cards. Then destroy the permanent if the mana value is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. If it will focus not on the Minister, but on the Quag. There we go. Carrying Cruiser we've seen, and that one's in foil. Rocket Booster Buggy. Skyseeker Serpent, Reef Roads. I think we have seen all of these. We have. Double Mythic Pack. Not the worst, but, the Commander products are so just readily available that pulling the Commanders kinda sucks. Alright, Quad Feast there. Gonti there. Oops. Gonti there. Lumbering World Wagon. Alright, that is a third of the way through the box. Let's see what else we got. Alright. Thopter. Okay, with a foil Verge. That's pretty cool. And a Servo token. So foil Verge is nice. Unstoppable Plan. Lumbering World Wagon. Prophet of the Scarab. 5 mana for 3/4. Vigilance. When it enters, draw cards equal to the number of zombies you control, or the number of zombie cards in your graveyard, whatever is greater. Interesting. And a Verge. Hey, I will take the lands, because I have been asking for them. Oh, I don't think... No, we have seen this, just not in this art. That's actually kind of cool. It's like a gold robotic chocobo. You are limited to monsters that are part of the commander's archetype, type, or attribute, or any of the mentions in the effects. Okay, so yeah, like, let's just say your commander in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a dark magician. Then you're limited to dark, spellcasters, anything else that would fall within the dark magician archetype would be my guess. Okay. Is it like Magic where it's a 100 card format then? Or is it 60 cards? $60 with one-ofs. Okay. Now, in Magic, a normal game of Magic, you start at 20 life. In Commander, you start at 40 life. Do you start then at 16,000 life points for Yu-Gi-Oh! Commander? Okay, so you still just start at the basic 8,000. Culloden in his full art form. He's pretty cool. Verge. We got the Merfolk earlier. This is the special art. This is creepy. Nissa, the World Soul Speaker. 4 mana for 3/3 landfall. Get 2 energy. You can pay 8 rather than the mana cost for permanent spells. Hey, foil Oil Deep Gearhulk. I will take that. Haunted Hellride, Ripclaw Wrangler. Yeah, in casual Commander, for Magic, like, those games can definitely be, like, 1 to 2 hours. But in the more, like, competitive Commanders, then you're getting into, like, yeah, this game was 15 minutes. Let's go to the next one. So we're halfway through the box, and we have 4 Mythics. I have a feeling this is going to be like Innistrad Remastered, and I get a total of 8. There we go. All right. We're now over halfway done with the box. This is pack number 7. Four turn cycles. Oh, well. Yeah, I guess with, like, all the special abilities and things like that, you can end up taking a bit of a long turn in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. What am I doing? We start here. All right, Dinosaur Dragon. Ooh, hot damn. That is awesome. March of the World Ooze in the Japanese art. It's not fractured foil, but that is really cool. That is so cool. All right. I'm going to actually put that in a sleeve before we continue reading. That's pretty awesome. Target opponent, if it says your opponent, it's target opponent, and if it says each or both or neither is changed to all. Well, give me an example of an ability where the card says neither. Because, like, that wouldn't make sense to me for neither being nothing to be all. Caradora, Heart of Alacuria. 4 mana, 4/2. When it enters, search your library for a mount or vehicle, put it in your hand. When one or more counters are put on a creature or vehicle you control, put that many +1/+1/+1 counters on it instead. Ooh, very nice Lifecraft engine. That's really cool. Yeah, neither should be nobody gets it. Although, okay, so neither player, so no player for all four. Okay, I got it. Wizened Mentor. 2 mana for 2/2. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a permanent that isn't a mana ability, you create a 1/1 zombie token, but it only triggers once a turn. Riverturn Monument we got before. Thundering Brood Dragon, Forest, Cloudspire. Marshall's Path Cruiser we have not read. 3 mana for 6/5. When it enters, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it in your hand. Exhaust for Wooburg. It becomes a creature with 2 counters, crew for 5. Neither player can banish cards, so no okay, no player can banish cards. Gotcha. Dinosaur Dragon with the treasure. That March of the World Ooze is pretty cool. I'm actually going to have to grab more sleeves because I still have 5 packs left. Okay. But it's fun deck building because it's a new format. There's no new deck, no net decking. Most of it is homebrews. No, that's what I really like about the casual commanders, because you can just build something yourself. It's an idea that you've really wanted to do, and you can just do it. So, like, that's why I really like Commander in Magic. Construct token, and we get a Sunbill of Verge. I will take it. Ooh, and a Flying Golem? Huh. Okay. Sunbill of Verge. Hey, Radiant Lotus. Very nice. 6 mana for an artifact. Sack 1 or more artifacts. Choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacked this way. Very nice. Ooh. And a Howl Squad Heavy. 3 mana for a 2/3. Start your engines. Other goblins have haste. Beginning of combat, create a red goblin that has to attack this combat. And max speed, add red for each goblin you control. On Wings of Gold. Creatures you control that are zombies and or tokens get +1/+1 in flying. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 zombie creature. Demonic Junker, which we actually pulled one earlier. Yeah, so the idea with this set, it is known as Aetherdrift, in which it is a multi-plane race. So you end up going through 3 different race, 3 different planes that exist in the Magic the Gathering lore, and it's essentially like a death combat race, kind of like, you know, Mad Max, Jack X, things like that. So that's why we get, you know, things like the Mystery Mobile. All right, we have 4 packs left, so we've opened 8 and we've gotten 6. So I'm expecting 3 more mythics. I don't know, like, I think Magic, like, at least plans their sets, like, maybe 2 years in advance. But I could be wrong on that. So, I mean, it could have been that we stole your idea, but Radiant Lotus is a big chase that we just pulled. And then this is the Japanese art for March of the World Ooze, so that one's a big pull. Let me do a quick little searchy search. So we have March of the World Ooze. Not the extended art. Yeah, we'll just do that. Oh, did it not show up? It didn't show up for me. Hold on. March of the World Ooze. That would be the showcase version. Right now, so the pre-sale price of this in foil was at 65. It's currently dropped to 57 for market price. However, it looks like the most recent sale has been 40, but it's still, you know, it's a $40 card. So, like, I'll take it. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! The one thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! That makes it really annoying to try and, like, analyze, you know, is your rarities are too similar to each other. Like, back when I played, it was rare, super rare, ultra rare, and, you know, so it was name, and picture. So, like, you had an idea. Then you get super or secret rare, where it's like just the picture, but it's got like diagonal foils to it. And then you now have like prismatic collector rare, prismatic ultra rare. Then you got, you know, your 25th anniversary, and it's like all of these are like too similar to each other in a way. And it's like, come on. Insect token with another Verge and elephant token. I'll take the Verge. Return Monument. Guardian Sunmare we saw. Ret Tomb Mystic. 2 mana for 2/1. Flying. Each creature card in your hand has cycling for 1 in a blue. Eh. Regal Imperial Soar. It's a 3 mana 5/4. That boosts your other dinos. Swamp. Thrill Seeker. Intimidation. Jungle Hollow. Alright. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweet. Oh, the music stopped. I thought I would have had more time. Boom. The Guardian Sunmare looks a little bit like a weird Super Saiyan because of that. Yeah, the Ghost Rares are different and noticeable because, like, those are the ones that, like, turn white. So, like, that works well. But where it's like, yeah, this is a prismatic collector versus a prismatic ultra where, like, the foiling is just slightly different. It's like, that doesn't really help us at all. Because, like, I'm listing some Yu-Gi-Oh cards for a friend for sale. And, like, for some cards, I've had to sit there and, like, look at it for, like, 2 minutes. Then look up a YouTube video and be like, okay, is this the secret rare? Or is this, like, the prismatic whatever rare? Alright. Pilot. Ooh, nice! Oh, and it's foil. Holy shit. That is the hit. That is a hit. Oh, that is a foil special guest Chromox. That is a wonderful hit if I can get it to focus. Oh, that. Let's see here. Chrome Mox. Why are they banned specifically? Like, why are QCRs? So it's not. Oh man, if we had gotten the first place foiling, that would have been better. But this is like right now market price for this, looking at like 170 bucks. So that's pretty cool. All right, another Bleachbone Verge, Boom Pile. Lost Monarch of Ifnir. 4 mana, 4/4, afflict 3. Other zombies you control have afflict 3. Beginning of your second main phase, if a player was dealt damage by a zombie, mill 3 cards, return a creature from graveyard to hand. Oh. And so it's just going to take them a while to create even more powerful cards to unban those cards. Oh, we have 2 packs left. Boop. Yeah, that's why I'm glad like there isn't much in terms of a ban list for Magic. Like, yes, there are some cards that are banned. But, like, you can still make a deck that you want that can work, you know, even for, like, 50 bucks. So, all right, Insect Token. Ooh, Bright Glass Gearhulk. It is the green-white one. 4 mana, 4/4, first strike trample. When this creature enters, search your library for 2 artifact, creature, or enchantment cards with mana value 1 or less. Reveal them. Put them into your hand. And it's foil, too. That's nice. All right, we got a Quag Feast from earlier. Zahur. We got from earlier. Saheeli Rai from the Commander. Set. 4 mana for 4/4. Whenever you cast an Artificer or Artifact spell, gain an energy. Beginning a combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control, except for it's a 5/5 artifact creature in addition to its other types. Sack it at the beginning of the next end step. Verge. We got 1 Verge in the entire play box, and now I think we've gotten like 10 just in this box, just in the collector box. At minimal rarity, that deck's still worth $800. I mean, wow. All right, and Saheeli. So that puts me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 9 mythics. Can I get 1 more to make it a nice 10? Yeah, and so, you know, it ends up forcing you to buy more boxes just to get the requirements that you need in order to even play. And it's like, well, Konami's already made all of its money. All right. Count on Luck as an extended art foil. 3 mana, beginning your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Ooh, Market Back Walker, I'll take. XX for 0, enters with X counters, so 2 mana, 1 counter, 4 mana, 2 counters. 4 mana, put a counter on this creature. When this creature dies, draw a card for each counter on it. Repurposing Bay, 3 mana. For an artifact, 2 mana, sack the artifact, search your library for an artifact with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacked artifact, and put it on the battlefield. Well, it really depends. Like, yeah, some some stores will end up opening a certain number of boxes to have singles. But, you know, there are some stores that will keep sealed product so that people buy boxes or people buy packs. Territorial Aetherkite. 6 mana for 6/5 flying haste. When it enters, you get 2 energy. Then you can pay 1 or more energy. When you do, it deals that much damage to each other creature. Alright, hey, Foil Valor's Flagship. We got to 10 mythics. And we got one of those earlier. Ooh, nice rover blades. Look at that. Golden rollerblades. Boost Patrol, Haunt the Network, Transit Mage Foil is pretty good. Night Market, and Collision Course. Alright, I am not... Like, this was much better than my Innistrad Remastered collector box, I feel. Oh, let's also put those in some sleeves. Okay, I have enough. Purposing Bay, Count on Luck, and a Hangerback or a Marketback Walker. Okay. So, 10 mythics. Valor's Flagship is pretty cool. That's a commander card. Bright Glass Gear Hulk. These two, well, really these three are probably the money cards. This right now is like 160. Right now, the March is like 40. I think the Radiant is probably around 30 or 40. But this was a really nice hit for us to get. Oil Deep Gear Hulk is pretty cool. So that's 2 Gear Hulks. Another commander card. Mimeoplasm. And the Death Shadow, but on a vehicle. Which is really nice. $600 in one pack is huge. Like, in Magic, you might crack a pack that, you know, you crack open a collector pack, you might get like $200 total in that one collector pack. Jesus. How many Verges did I get in this? So there's a Verge, there's a Verge, there's a Verge, there's a Verge. There's a Verge. There's a Verge. Verge. Okay. So those are the only Verges. But we ended up getting 8 in this box and only 1 in the play box. So Bleachbone, Sun. Wow, 3 Bleach Bones in one in one collector box. So I'm missing... These are enemy color ones, so black, green, black, white. So that makes sense. Red, white. Red, blue. Blue, green? Is that the one that I missed out of this box? I think so. But I will take 5 full art Verges. 5 full art Verges is pretty good. I mean, you can check. They probably have come down, would be my guess. I will say, this is one of my favorite arts from the box that we ended up pulling. Just the burnout, just the goofy goblin face in foil. Breedle is always nice. House Squad Heavy is kind of cool. Couple of duplicates here, but not as duplicate heavy, I feel, as the Innistrad Remastered. But I don't know. I liked this. This was fun. Couple of first place foils there too. That'll be nice. Hey, still $98 for a card. Like, for a children's card game, anything worth more than like $15, that's money. Like, you can end up getting a decent amount for that. So I would not be too upset with that. Oh, they absolutely did. not exactly, like, this is not Mad Max art, but, like, this is pretty cool. But yeah, so you got, you know, that sort of chariot. You have an ox, which looks to be from, you know, kind of like a Chinese mythological type thing. You have Goofy Goblin Face. Like, there's one of the cars there for Boom Pile. Debrito is literally a vehicle that's rolling a dung bomb. There's a horse, essentially. The Mystery Machine. Like, the art is fun. And we'll see how much of this I'm able to get to play. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the stream. Doing the 2 boxes for pack openings. We did tremendously on the collector box. The play box, maybe. I don't really. We may have not done so well on the play box, but that is going to be it. Havoc, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Telly, thanks you for stopping by earlier as well. Appreciate you guys very much. And I think, I think the next time we stream, we'll be doing some Sly Cooper or maybe some Pac-Man World or something. How much are you going to sell from the box? Well, I collect, so probably nothing. Maybe maybe like 1 or 2 cards, so I can maybe buy another box, but I don't really know just yet. But we will see how things end up shaping out when I end up when I put everything into a binder. So, all right, I think that's gonna be it. Havoc, Telly, thank you for being here. When I stream next, we'll be back to like video games, and I hope to see you guys then.